Excuse me, but I'll have to squeeze by you. I have the window seat. Wait to get there. This is actually only the second time I've flown. What about you?
Actually, I've flown quite a bit.
Oh, my boyfriend wouldn't even drive me to the airport. He always says I'm too demanding. But you would not believe what he asked me to do for him.
Probably not.
When he gets up in the morning, the first thing he says is, "I'm going to give it to you good." And when we go to bed at night, he says the same thing. This goes on night and day. Can you imagine?
Excuse me?
Excuse me? What do you mean, excuse me?
Excuse me means I don't know what to say.
Well, then say that you don't know what to say. That's not so hard.
Well, what do you say to your boyfriend?
Well, what can I say? He says, if I don't dish it out, it's bye-bye, Angie. He told me he has lots of places to put Mr. Pecker.
Well, your boyfriend certainly gets right to the point, doesn't he?
Oh, he sure does. He always has this big dramatic story in his James Bond voice about Mr. Pecker having another bad day at the office. Mr. Pecker squashed in a dark place, and it's Mr. Pecker's turn to come out and play. Poor Mr. Pecker. Here's all the action going on all around him. People going to lunch, laughing, joking, telling stories. Poor Mr. Pecker's all shut up. Nothing to do, nothing to see. That is until he gets home and gets released.
Your boyfriend has an interesting imagination.
Is that all you can say?
You know, frankly, I don't know what to say. This doesn't sound like any of my business.
Well, of course it's your business. I'm a person, a real human being just like you. You know, you look like a cause person, a do-gooder, someone who just wants to help others.
And I should take that as a compliment.
Well, you do. You can't help looking like that. So what do you do for a living?
I'm a professor at Wellesley College, and my husband Richard is the head of the physics department at Harvard, and we live in Weston.
Do you have children?
Yes, we do. We actually have two children, a boy 14 and a girl 11.
I thought so.
What do you mean you thought so?
Oh, now it's you asking me what I mean.
Yes, I just told you what I do for a living. I told you about my husband. I told you about my two children, and you're saying you thought so.
Well, I mean, you know, that hotsy-totsy teacher stuff, you and your husband, you know what I mean? So what do you teach?
English.
You know, I just saw a movie about Wellesley College. Mona something or other.
Did you like it?
I don't know. Julia Roberts plays one of these smartasses who thinks she has all the answers. I don't know. Did you see it?
Yes, I did.
Did you like it?
I was sort of mixed about it.
How so?
Well, actually, I liked the shots of the campus, but I didn't think the movie itself was too realistic.
Oh, how come?
Well, I didn't think it was realistic. I thought it was a little far-fetched that a teacher would get so involved in her students' lives.
I guess you're right.
So anyway, when you say what your boyfriend says to you twice a day, what do you say to him?
Well, I wish you would just say, let's do it.
You certainly get right to the point.
Well, what about you and your head of the department husband? After all, he must know how to say it right. He is a Harvard professor.
He hardly says anything at all. Actually, he says hardly anything.
Why not?
Well, he's screwing one of his students, and he's actually having a long-time affair with one of his colleagues. A real bitch.
He sounds pretty active for a teacher.
I guess.
So what about you?
Well, what about me?
Well, you're a pretty woman. You're not so old. Don't you need to get a little?
Well, if you're asking me if I need a little bit of attention, I do, and I'm horny as hell.
So what are you doing about it?
Well, there's not much I can do about it.
Well, you know that movie, Mona...
Yes, Mona Lisa smiles.
I think the real point is, men are nothing but a bunch of pricks, and we should never, ever take them seriously or marry the bastards.
I know, but we do. Well, at least I did.
We should trade. You sleep with my boyfriend for a week, he'll never know the difference, and I'll go live with your husband and cut his balls off.
Sounds like a plan.
I don't know how I get into these crazy relationships. They always seem so good in the beginning.
I know. I know what you mean. But let's get back to cutting Richard's balls off.
Well, you know, if I did do it, you'd never get it at all. Unless, of course, you divorced him for having no balls, which I'm sure you could win in court.
You know, sex. It's so overrated. You know, you climax and then you fall asleep when you could have just fallen asleep anyway.
You know,
It's no big deal.
when I first sat down next to you, I thought you were rather stuck up. But I didn't care. I mean, I had to tell somebody. Talk to someone, you know what I mean? So, what are you reading?
Oh, it's called Sisters and Some Brothers.
What's it about?
Well, it's about the 11,000th book, written on the impossibility of men and women getting along. You know the theory. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Who wrote it?
Actually, a friend of mine who teaches at Wellesley, she wrote it.
Oh, and what does she teach?
Sociology.
Well, she should know. What does she say about it?
Well, actually, I started reading the book until I got interrupted, but so far, I think her point is that we're not so different after all. You know, men and women, we can work it out. We can work it, you know the song?
Bullshit. Bullshit. I mean, oh, look at us. I mean, look at my arms. Almost no hair. My boyfriend has so much hair in there, you could almost lose something in there. I'm telling you, we're not even a little bit alike. Everything I like, he hates. And everything he likes, I try to like, but I hate. I'm telling you, your friend does not know what she's talking about.
Well, I just started the book.
Well, stop reading it right now before you waste any more of your time. Now I'm glad I interrupted your reading. That book could be a very bad influence on you.
How so?
Well, it sounds like it's going to blame you for your husband being a putz.
Well, my friend is very wise, and she's very smart, and she has a great marriage.
Does she think that you have a great marriage?
Well, I don't know. Actually, I've never told her what I just told you.
Well, maybe you should.
You know what? I'm only saying these things. One only says these kind of things to a person when one never expects to see that other person again. One doesn't talk this intimately to a friend of theirs.
You won't see me again?
Well, you know what I mean. You know, you meet someone on a plane, you exchange phone numbers, but you never call, and the other person never calls you. It's just not done.
Why not?
Just because it isn't.
You know, you're a teacher, a professor at Wellesley College, a place they made a goddamn movie about. You should know why not.
Look, people just don't mean what they say.
And what does that mean?
Well, look, in my case, I have 2 kids. I have soccer practice, music lessons, homework help, cooking, cleaning, not to mention I have a full-time job, which includes correcting papers. I don't have time for another relationship. Everybody is too busy to follow up.
Yes, but what about your vagina?
My vagina?
Yes. Down there, your love box, your vagina.
Well, it's very, very sad.
I would think.
Well, maybe it's kind of like your boyfriend's pecker, all shut up all day, and then when she comes out to play, there's no one to play with it.
So what are you doing about it?
Ha!
Well, listen, if you don't do something about it quick, your vagina's going to get very angry at you. You don't want to have an angry vagina that you have to carry around with you, do you?
Well, I guess not. But you know what? I never really thought of my vagina as being angry.
Oh, believe me, vaginas are no fun, I know. Mine is angry for all the opposite reasons. Too much use. Too much damn use. It's so tired. No rest, no sleep for my poor, tired vagina. It's always screaming at me, doesn't that son of a bitch ever get tired?
You know, we just can't win.
Win? You know what the problem is with an angry vagina? It never shuts up. Apparently mine doesn't like the type of men I choose.
Well,
We should have a vagina party.
I think our vagina should talk. I can't believe I just said that. Oh my God.
No, you didn't just say that. You meant it. You were trying to fix our vaginas up. You were trying to set up a date for our vaginas, weren't you?
Actually, not really. I really didn't mean it.
Yes, you did. You meant it.
That's ridiculous. A vagina party?
You know, my vagina knows when another vagina thinks it's better than anyone else's.
That's not what
My vagina doesn't like that. You have an uppity vagina.
That's not what I meant.
Well, what the fuck did you mean? You did say that, didn't you? You said that us having a vagina party would be ridiculous.
That's not what I meant. I don't think that my vagina is better than your vagina. I just think that, like, it's far-fetched in general that you would set up our two vaginas on a date.
That's what you said about the movie. I hope you're not comparing my vagina to the movie.
Of course not. I don't even know your vagina.
With that attitude, you'll never get to know her.
Look, let's get back to cutting Richard's balls off.
I think you're serious.
Actually, I think his girlfriend will do it for us. I believe she knows he's having an affair with one of his students.
And how do you know this?
Well, his student calls every single day on his cell phone, and when he thinks I'm out of earshot, I can hear him talking really softly. I listen to some of the voicemails, and she calls, you know, the affair professor a real tight ass. You know what, he never remembers where he puts anything, including his dick. Like my kids say, I am so totally not in the dark.
Well, I'm certainly glad I don't have that job. Cutting somebody's balls off is very messy business.
I agree.
So what about your kids? What are they like?
Oh, my teenage boy Josh, he's wonderful. He's my hidden treasure. Maybe not so hidden. He's wonderful. He does a lot of cooking, so he helps me out quite a bit. I believe, though, that he knows what his dad is up to, but he never says anything, and he never says anything to me. He doesn't want to hurt my feelings. And my young girl, Jill, she's prematurely developed, and all the boys have their eyes on her. And she's on her cell phone day and night.
Is your daughter sexually active?
I am concerned.
Well, there's nothing you can do about it. How old are you when you first did it?
Oh, I was 16. I was madly in love with a boy named Josh. My parents were out one night, and I knew that they were going to be out late. So I invited Josh over. He was so loving and so giving. God, I loved him.
So what happened?
Well, one summer, there was a freak boating accident, and he got killed. I cried all summer long. I was a complete wreck.
Sad story. I was 15 and I did it at the beach. Oh, God, it was awful. I got sand up my ass. And when the guy I was with rubbed my boobs with his hands were like sandpaper. It was awful. Oh, it was so awful.
You know what? I just heard the landing gear come down. I think we'll be landing soon.
You know, I never did get your name.
Oh, my. Here's my card. My name is Claudia Lewis.
Oh, yeah. Well, my name is Angelina Parker. My mother named me after her favorite great aunt. You know, I'm a psychotherapist. I practice on Beacon Hill in the building right next to where I live. Here, please, take my card.